Hi, and welcome to the Pursuit of Happiness podcast. I'm your host, Winanda van Delft. I'm a health and mindset coach, spaghetti and ice cream lover, travel junk, and a cat mom. I love conversations that are on a more raw and deeper level. And today's guest is Karla Rodriguez. Karla is a master NLP life and empowerment coach, and she has her own podcast called metafitmetamindpodcast. She has learned that through trusting her intuition and finding her inner power, she can set her mind to communicate with her body to be completely healthy and whole. In this episode, we're going to talk about hypnosis, emotions, and a lot more. So let's get started. So, hello, Karla. Welcome to my show. I'm really happy to have you over here. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I already know a little bit about you, but can you share us where you come from, what you're doing at the moment, and how you got there?
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I haven't been, as I said earlier, I haven't been interviewed in a while, so I'm re-practicing being on this side of the show, basically. So I am a podcaster. I started a podcast called Metafit Metamind Podcast in April already of 2019.
Wow,
I
that's
am
wow.
a master NLP coach, practitioner, hypnosis practitioner, timeline therapy practitioner. I'm going into one more training this year, which is going to be insane because it's 3 weeks of training. And it's going to be one of those where I don't know, I have no idea what to expect from it. I am originally from California, but I've been in Texas for about 15 years. I'm a wife, I'm a mom to an 8-year-old son. I've been a doula. I don't know. I try a lot of things. I like to try so many things. I like to say that I'm good at a lot of things and not a specialist of one. But all of that has helped me with having flexibility into what I do now, which is coaching and podcasting. And so yeah, I'm just somebody that is a flexible person who likes to try so many things. Oh, I also love to dance. I did ballroom for a little bit, and I CrossFit, which is so much fun to me, not during the time, but of course, the results and the push that I get from it is really great. So I'm a cheerleader of people. I like to see the best in people and feel that they're getting the things that they are getting. Uh, and just, I don't know, I'm one of those people that want to see results in everyone. Sometimes I may want it a little too much for them. And so then I see the results from that. But yeah, I'm just a happy person. I'm just really excited to be on here with you, being interviewed, and yeah, and seeing where this takes us.
Yeah. Okay, so you told us you are a coach. How did you become a coach? Because I'm a coach myself as well. So I'm always curious to know
Hmm.
how people,
So
yeah.
yeah, I didn't know I was gonna be a coach. I have no idea that this was a path and the alignment that was, in the works for me. It started last year after I was part of a collaboration book with another 13 women. They have a book called We Are Brave, Women Entrepreneurs, and we all talk about our stories. It's a chapter in that book. And in that book, I met my first coach and mentor, Dr. Denise Simpson, who's amazing, who I don't even know how to say enough about her.
Mm.
She's got her own podcast as well. And at the time, she had this group program that I asked her about, and I was interested in because she's a leadership coach. And I asked her, hey, I'd like to know more because I feel like something in me is telling me that I need to ask you about this because I want to try something different. I'm in this collaboration book. Great. This is an accomplishment, right? But I don't feel like I'm in the same place. I don't feel like I'm in the same level as all of you, which was the rest of the women. And of course, we have complexes a lot of times, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, at the time, I didn't have a guidance. I didn't have somebody to challenge me and to push me and to keep me accountable other than our book group. Um, so that, I asked her, I signed up, and through her and her guidance, I realized, hey, I've already coached, I've already done this before, just in a different setting. Yeah, just in a different setting where it was a lot more pressure though, being a doula. Because as a doula, I am basically a coach. I like to call myself the third birth partner, where I give the parents to be informational support, physical support, and did I say informational, physical, and emotional support? So it's I'm coaching them with information and with guidance, right, to get to this outcome of welcoming a new baby. And she said,
Amazing.
Karla, she's like, you're a coach already, just in a different setting. So what's up? Why don't you think you're a coach already? And something clicked in me at that moment. I said, wow, she's right. I've done this before. Yes, so I've done this before. I apologize.
It's okay.
And that led to working on some things and just answering a lot of questions and challenges and being triggered sometimes from her about things that I didn't want to be triggered about. And eventually that led me to also connect with another one of the collaborators in the book. Her name is Deborah Yeager, and she's a trainer coach of neurolinguistic programming. And I told her, hey, I'm kind of interested in your programs as well, right? Because this is kind of what Dr. Denise kind of led me to. And I asked her if I was interested. And she's like, well, just ask. What do you lose by just asking? So I asked. I've done basically all the trainings this year. It's been a heck of a ride. Attending their 3-day business, attending their hypnosis trainings, their practitioner trainings, their master practitioner trainings, and now I'm going into trainer training next week. It starts December 1st. And as I said, it's going to be a 3-week course or class or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, that's how I've become a coach and had a few. And I don't know if you can see behind me, but there's a few certificates on this side
Yeah,
that I have obtained. And I think I'm going to add a few more. So
that's
yeah,
amazing.
that's basically how that happened. It was through the leadership of one person and the guidance to lead me to another. And they're still I'm still close to them, and it's amazing.
That's amazing. So you were saying that you were doing like hypnotizing the part. Can you actually do
Hypnosis.
that? Yeah, hypnosis. Yeah. How does that work? Because I
Hmm.
mean, you see it, especially in the old movies, that you have something like a necklace or something, in front of your eyes, but obviously it's nothing like that. So how does that work?
So it's actually funny that you say that because we do pendulum work.
Oh, really? I
But it's
thought it
very
was just
different
for the,
than, yeah,
yeah.
like the pendulum work is not necessarily to hypnotize somebody. It can be used depending on the specialist. Um but it's a form of hypnosis. It's so let me ask you something. Do you think meditation is hypnosis?
I think in a way, yes.
Yeah, that's basically a way of hypnosis. If I were to ask you to close your eyes and to just take a deep breath and just keep closing, like hold the
I'm going to
eyes
do it
closed
right
for a little
now.
bit. Yeah, actually do
Yeah,
it.
I'm just going to do it now. Okay, I've closed my eyes and
All
then
right.
take a deep breath. Okay.
And just stand there or sit there. And then if I were to ask you to open your eyes whenever you're ready and come back into here, into now, into us having this conversation, and just come back when you're ready.
Mm.
All
I
right,
feel
now let me
calm.
ask you. Sorry?
Yeah. No, I said I feel calm. I feel
Yeah.
good.
It's just, that's hypnosis. And anybody that's listening to this, try it, but not while you're driving.
No, of course not.
um so that's a start to it, right? And let me ask you, who is in control of closing your eyes?
Well, you are, but in the end, I'm the one doing it, so I'm the
So
one in
in reality,
control.
and yeah,
Yeah,
and all you had to do was just listen to my voice, and all I did was ask you. If something would have been out of alignment to you, you wouldn't have done it, right?
true.
So hypnosis is not a form of control from the person who's doing the hypnosis or guiding you. Hypnosis is where you have full control of your actions. Anything that your mind says, your body will do. So if I were to ask you to close your eyes and to go stand with your head in the corner, would that be in alignment with you? Depends on the person if they can do it, but probably not, right?
Yeah,
Hypnosis is not where, in movies you see that, oh, like they put you to sleep and things like that. It's not necessarily that. It's actually a actual state of being fully awake and being fully able to immerse yourself in the imagination and the openness that you are able to take your mind to expand your awareness of your surroundings and everything that's going on in your life. It's a place where it's really close to a dream where the imagination just comes out. And this is the best place to actually set your goals because you don't have a critical faculty, meaning you don't have your conscious mind telling you, oh, I can't do that. This is a place where your unconscious mind is actually coming out to the surface to integrate with the conscious mind in order to be able to expand that awareness, expand the possibilities of what you can have in life. And so the hypnosis that I work on is to help people with their goals and let go of anxiety because there's a lot of anxiety in the world right now.
yeah, absolutely.
To let go of stress, for people that want to stop smoking, like I can guide somebody to that process of quitting smoking, you know. I can guide people to get ready for a test, to have that clarity, that openness in their mind to be able to have a successful test that's coming up maybe after this podcast or whatever that test is, whatever kind of test is. If somebody wants to speak in public, um then and they want to let go some of the things that critically we're telling ourselves, oh man, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this possibly wrong. Well, instead, let's open your imagination and your awareness to the possibilities of things that can happen, and let's set your goals for that. So that's what hypnosis is and how I work it in my practice. And I do it as standalone as well. If people don't want to, for some reason they're like, hey, I need a something for clarity because I have this coming up, cool, let's work on it.
Yeah. Okay, that
And
is
I will
amazing.
say that a lot of times hypnosis, like I like to work it during my coaching practice to fully integrate all the learnings and everything that has happened from the time we started working to the end and all the results that you have gotten up to that point.
Okay, wow. So, because hypnosis is basically you being in control of yourself. So, what I've seen a couple of times
Mm-hmm.
is that people use hypnosis to go through trauma and things they thought
Mm-hmm.
they forgot. They can go back to that. So, is that also your subconscious mind um, getting loose, to say it like that? Or how does that work? Like things
You
you,
could say that. It really depends. It depends on the person.
yeah, okay,
It's really
cool.
contextual. It's really from person to person. Like I can do regression. Um like I can take someone through regression, which is going back. to a past life, right? And getting the learnings from that and from the traumas. We can work on that, but I normally like to work that with getting through the emotions and letting go of the limiting emotions, beliefs, decisions, BS, those belief systems
Yeah.
that people have first, right? And those emotions are anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, in order to be able to work on those traumas.
Okay. Yeah. Amazing. Incredible. The mind is so fascinating. Like I just love it. I love it. And you were telling about emotions. Like how do emotions help us in life? Do you think?
Mm. So that's another one, right? Where
Yeah.
there's emotions that we have had since we were small, since we were little. We also have emotions, depending on who you are and what you believe in, that come back generational, from past, our ancestors. There's also emotions that have been there from another life, if you believe in that as well. And those emotions can help us if they are in a positively stated way, if they are felt in a positively stated manner, or if they, challenge us to say, hey, so this is happening. What do I want instead? And how can I get to that? What is the goal? And then that's where the emotions come in. Now, if it's a limiting emotion or limiting decision of, I have all this anger and I need to hold on to this anger because blah blah blah, I can do this and this and this because I can live. Well, what else can you use to live? What else can you use to help you with that? And I'm not saying it's not okay to feel the emotions. It's okay to feel the emotions. Let's release the ones that have been kept in its own container, right? In its own platform of, I have this anger right here, so it's all I see, right? So the anger is right in front of my eyes, and that's why I am awake, right? And then I can't see past that. I can't feel past that. I can't think of anything that's, any other possibility. So whenever you release those emotions, the limiting ones, then you can continue to still feel emotion, but now you have the emotional intelligence to be able to conquer any emotion that does come after you work on it, right? You know how to do it, you know how to process it in order to learn from it, but continue to move on a little quicker than before.
Yeah. I have two other questions about emotions. One is, do we all feel the same? Like, is anger like do we all feel the same way about emotions, or is it also something that it's really personal? And what do you think is the most destructive or most beneficial emotion that we can have in life, that we can tap into to, yeah, create a better life for ourselves?
That's an interesting question. And
Yeah.
as far as beneficial, they all benefit us.
Yeah.
Um, when I worked on the things for me, as far as those emotions, because I've done the work a couple times, and it's, people always say it's like an onion getting peeled, right? Those layers after layers after layers after layers. Um, or the flowers that people are like, does the yes or no or yes, right, picking at each thing, right? You're working through those things. And so whenever I first worked on these emotions, I told my coach and my trainers, I said, hey, I don't feel anger. They're like, really, you don't feel anger? And I'm like, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know how to, normally I suppress it, I guess, but I don't know how to bring it out. And so I would call it frustration, which frustration is my excuse to not feel the anger, if in a sense. And so he guided me through the process of finding the anger to release it. And then I learned, oh, that's how I feel that, right? Which is maybe different than what you feel it. Some people have more sadness, some people may have more hurt, some people like I will say, like, through the Latino community or through the you know, anybody that's Hispanic, or a lot of, depending on the culture, right? But we tend to live with a lot of guilt, right? Religion has a lot to do with it, depending on who your parents are and how you've grown up. In church, they, at least Catholic Church, there's this thing where they say por mi culpa, like, oh, because for like it's my fault kind of thing, of all these things that happen. So already from the time that we're little, we're hearing these things and we're like, oh, I should live with guilt. I should
Yeah.
feel shame because I like to do A or B or C, all right? So there's normally a lot of guilt and shame in the Latino community. There's people like maybe military, right? They may live with a lot of anger because a lot of the things that they have seen. So it really depends on the person, individual to individual, on how they feel things. And, you know, once you release one, which it normally starts with anger. Now, sometimes there's above that, there's rage, which is just, let's, you know, release that and then let's get down to it. Then the rest of the emotions kind of shift each other. Whenever there's one emotion that lets go, another one may brew up, right? And that you didn't realize that that was brewing up because you were holding it so much in some other emotion. And then that one actually comes up, right? Because something we like to say or know, or something we should know, is that the problem that people come in is normally not the problem.
Yeah.
Normally, there's a deep rooted thing there that hasn't been worked through, and it's up to us as coaches to find that and to not enable the surface problem to be what we work on, and actually challenge our clients to work on the things that they have probably been suppressing, or working on the things that they've been hiding, or working on the things that they didn't even realize were there, right? To
Yeah.
stop some of those patterns as well, some of those patterns of decisions or beliefs that we have.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like if someone would come up to you for business because they want to scale their business or they have trouble in business. So it is
Mm-hmm.
possible that it's something personal actually why their business isn't growing, right? With relationship, if the
Definitely.
relationships aren't working, it could be not because the relationship isn't working, it's because that individual has problems with him or herself that is showing into other areas of their life as well. And we, like you said, we as coaches are the ones who have
Exactly.
to peel that layer and go deeper and find out what's really the root, what's really
Mm-hmm.
the big problem
Yeah.
in there. Yeah, it's interesting.
It's like, if you
Um,
think about it, is like someone can shake a soda can, right? And you can hear it. And if you kind of pop it open a little bit, you hear the fizz, right?
yeah,
That's the surface problem. The moment that we choose to open it and that actually comes out, okay, we don't want our client to pop, or right, or
yeah,
that explode, but slowly let's let that out. Let's work on it to be able to clear that up and enjoy whatever comes next,
yeah.
right?
I love that.
And somebody can come in because they have an issue with like their weight loss or their physical body, right? A lot of times, um, there's a theory that says that the reason people have weight or extra pounds on them is as a protection mechanism. It's a protection layer, and it's something that may have been deep rooted from childhood or even before that, that they don't realize that they have. So
Yeah,
what is it that they're protecting, right? What is that barrier that they have? So it's up to us to open up slowly and just release anything that comes up, and enjoy what, like, that drink that you have next.
yeah, exactly. Um, so before this interview, we've talked about your story as well, and you've told me that you had a disease that you was living with.
Mhm.
How has that affected your life right now as a coach, as a wife, as a mom? How has that affected?
It did in the beginning, because I didn't know how to process it, should I say. At least from, so I have two. I have an autoimmune disorder and I have a genetic disorder. I like to say that I don't have those. But in the beginning, for the first one, the autoimmune disorder, that one I was diagnosed when I was 17. So at the time, I had no development, no ability or knowledge on how to set goals, on how to have a strong mindset. So I ignored it. I then decided to go to a specialist. Well, my mom made me because, of course, I was still underage. So I went to a specialist and they gave me steroids and a few other things in order for me to increase my platelet count, because the problem was that I had low platelets, meaning that I would bleed more if I ever hurt myself or anything worse, right? And in this time, for the next 3 years, from 17 till I was about 20, I took these steroids. I can't even tell you what the name of them are anymore, but there was a lot of emotions there. There was a lot of gaining of weight. There was a lot of confusion. There was a lot of thoughts that, oh, the doctor knows best, so I'm going to do what they say. Well, eventually, my doctor once told me, and I realized this after my uncle, who lovingly told me that I looked thicker. And in my mind, I was like, what are you talking about? And he said, yeah, you look, in Spanish we say hinchada, like swollen.
Yeah.
And so then this basically stuck in my mind. And I didn't say anything after that. And then my specialist told me, hey, we're going to start lowering your dosage because this is going to affect your bones in the long run. I said, wow, really? You're giving me this, telling me that this is good for me. This is something that will help me, yet in the long run, it's not. So he wanted to slowly, reduce the dosage. And I said, okay, cool. I went and picked up the prescription and I stopped. Didn't take it anymore. At the time, I met my now husband, who was my best friend then, and he helped me change my diet, change my habits, change my activity. And so I lost about 22 pounds in 3 months. And so, yeah, I still continue to have in my mind that I have this disease or this disorder, and that I had to be careful. But at the same time, I started to listen to my intuition. I started to listen to that little feeling that, hey, I can do more than the doctor's telling me I can. So that's when I started to even work out even more, and I dove into CrossFit, and that helped me so much. And that's something that stayed in my mind. But then I told myself, you know what? I'm not gonna say that I have this. I'm not going to say that I am a victim to this. I'm not going to allow this to stop me from doing all the things that I want to do. Then at 25 or 26, maybe 27. How old am I now? Yeah, 26 or 27. I had a seizure in my sleep one night. I woke up thinking that my mom and my husband were waking me up, and no, that was not the case. It was that I had just had this event happen, and I went back to sleep, didn't think about it, didn't go to the doctor. I said I'm fine. And then another one happened about 3 to 6 months later. And then I said, okay, I'm listening to y'all and I'm gonna go to the doctor. I went, they did all the tests and everything, and I'm not gonna, say that I wasn't scared or worried. Um, they found that I have cysts in my brain. And so they're non-cancerous. Apparently they've been there forever, and that they're never going to go away is what he said. And so I said, okay, cool. Give me the medicine. He gave me the prescription, yet I didn't take it. I had one more, and then ever since then I haven't had one. And I believe that was in 2017. Kind of lose track of time now, but um, yeah, I never took them. And yes, for a while that was on the surface of, oh, I have this. I don't want to go to sleep sometimes because this and this and this. My husband has been very aware sometimes when I sleep to make sure that it doesn't happen again, or if it does happen, he's wants to be ready. But through all the work that I'm doing, I really truly believe that I am healing that, just organically through my mindset and through making a lot of different neurological change, on this quantum level of, hey, I had this was what I was told. I'm using that as a part of my story. Cool. It was a chapter in my life, but right now I am here. I'm fully healthy. I'm fully happy. I'm fully whole. And, although I know that that has been there, and I can't use it as guidance for somebody that has gone through a similar situation, but it doesn't affect my family much
Yeah.
anymore. Sometimes the conversation comes up, but it's not something that I think about on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that you just decided, like, no, this is not going to affect me, and that because of that, it's often about the beliefs we have, right? And the labels we put on ourselves. Like if, like you said, if a doctor tells you
Mhm.
like, oh, you are sick, or you have this, or you have that, or you are not able to, for example, have kids again. I mean, how many women have heard the story that they can never have kids
Mhm.
again, but then end up having kids because they decide, like, no, this is not who I am. I'm not going
Yeah.
to let this define me. I will create my own future. I will create my own life. I think that's beautiful. And I think that's also shows us the power of our brain, the power of our brains as well, that we have the choice to be whoever we want,
Mhm.
do whatever we want, and not let anything stop us from that. Not what other people tell us how we are, who we are, and how we should live our lives. I think that's beautiful that you are doing that and that
Yeah.
you are using that
And
as well.
I'm not saying sure.
Yeah,
And I'm not saying that that's, oh, I don't believe in the word of these specialists or the doctors. Like they do amazing work. Like I
yeah,
do believe that when it's necessary, okay, go. But what can we work on before? What can we work on now to maybe not have to go and see them as much? And
yeah,
whenever it comes to, yeah, women, being told that they can't have babies, that they can't do this, then that's a tough one. That's a rough one because age does depend on that too. Um, but it's very possible, and a lot of women have gone and had one, two, three kids, after the first one, and it's about the mindset. And they do say, hey, like if you are trying to have a kid, if you're trying to have a baby, try to let go of stress in your life because stress doesn't help you
yeah,
with trying to conceive a baby. And just let it happen. Like trust your body, trust yourself, trust that you're doing everything that you're doing now, and just let nature take its direction at the same time as you listening to yourself. And yeah, so I do believe in doctors. Sometimes it just depends on the context and what it is.
yeah. So what is your biggest lesson from everything that you've went through and what you're doing and what you've learned? What is the biggest lesson that you could share with the audience?
Oh, there's so many lessons in here
Yeah, there is,
that I
isn't it?
continue to have. Yeah, there's so many lessons that I continue to have. There's so many things that I enjoy learning. But I think one of the biggest one has been my belief and knowing that I can do what I thought was not possible. When I know what I thought that I didn't know, then I would know so much more.
Yeah,
So whenever I opened myself to that awareness that I was able to do so much more than I thought I could, then my possibilities and my opportunities just opened up for me.
amazing. Okay. Well, if people want to contact you or ask you questions about all of this, or have gone through the same thing as you have, and they want support or guidance or more answers to their questions, how can they find you?
Sure. Thank you for asking that, Winanda. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, on my email. So my Facebook is just look up Coach Carlita. Same thing on Instagram, instagram.com/Coach Carlita, and that's CoachKarlita. You can also find my podcast both on Instagram and Facebook, Metafit Metamind Podcast. And yeah, that's how you can find me, or you can email me, Karla, Karla, at metafitmetamind.com.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. Well, I'll leave everything in the description so they can contact you. And thank you so much for this conversation. I really
Sure.
enjoyed it, and it opened up, especially with the hypnotizing and stuff. I didn't know about that. It's cool. It's amazing. So thank you for sharing your knowledge and
Yeah. And right
your
now,
experience.
during this week here in the US of gratitude and Thanksgiving is coming up this Thursday. I'm having basically a little hypnosis, I like to call it hypno session special, where you get two for the price of one. So whatever people want to work on, you can just send me a message, and let's work on it. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. Even I get learnings from that.
Yeah. Okay, that's perfect. Well, thank you so much. And yeah, let's talk soon.
Yeah, of course. Oh, and can I plug one more thing in?
Yeah.
Cool. I have a podcast course coming up. And so anybody that's interested in wanting to start their own podcast, I'm going to be doing a pre-registration in the next few weeks. So stay tuned for that. And
Okay.
that's a shameless plug because I worked on shame. So thank you so much for letting me plug that in.
Yeah, it's okay, no problem. Always happy to help other women and empower each other, help each other, because that's what I'm standing for as well. So yeah, amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and to share, and amazing questions. Thank you for this.
You're welcome. Bye bye.
Bye.